Hi, I'm Lynn. Welcome back to Cooking with Lynn. I'm back in my kitchen again, baking again this time um, for the Cumberland Library, of course. Still doing this, and as long as people keep watching, I'm going to keep doing it. So today I'm making peach cobbler, which is a perfect dessert for this time of year. If peaches are in season, and it's a great thing to take to a cookout or a barbecue, or if you're having something in your yard or whatever. Somebody doesn't like cake for dessert, we do a lot of cake and cupcakes, so something a little bit different. You can serve it with whipped cream or ice cream, whatever you desire, or just eat it plain. It's yummy. So, all right, so I did a couple things ahead because no one needs to watch me peel and chop peaches for half an hour. It didn't take me that long. But anyway, let me tell you what you need, and then I'll tell you what I already did, and then we'll get started. So, obviously peaches, 6 to 8 depending on the size. And make sure they're not super hard, because you're going to cook them a little bit, but you don't want them to be like super hard because they don't tend to be that sweet, and they're a little harder to cook and cut and whatever. Anyway, and sugar, and cinnamon and nutmeg, which went in here. So it was 6 to 8 peaches. I think I used 7. Split the difference. And I used, they were very sweet, and they were a little bit overripe, so I didn't put as much sugar if they weren't. So maybe taste them. If they're not super sweet, put 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I only used half, and I put a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. So that went in there. I just boiled it until it was bubbly and the sugar was dissolved, and then I just put it aside. It's very syrupy. These, like I said, were a little bit overripe, so I'm going to have to probably drain them a little bit because I don't want all that liquid in my peach cobbler. But anyway, and then for the cobbler part, you need flour, sugar, milk, or I'm using half and half. I don't know why I don't have milk, but whatever. Vanilla, baking powder, and an egg yolk. So that's what I need, and butter. So the other thing that I did is I cut the butter. You need half a cup of butter. I cut it up into cubes. I put it in my baking dish, and I stuck it in the oven at 375 for however long till the butter melts. So that's what's happening right now there. I'm going to check that in a second. So you do butter on the bottom. I sprayed the pan, butter on the bottom, and then the batter will go in, the peaches go on top, which sounds counterproductive. You would think it would be the other way around. It's not. So let me run quick, check my butter. It is almost completely melted, so I'll give it another second. I can start on this while we're waiting. So it is a cup of flour. So let's get the batter going. And I would assume that you can use other fruits as well. Cobbler is cobbler, right? So get that over here. And I need a cup of sugar. That in there. And I need a teaspoon of baking powder to help it to rise a little bit. That in there. Always when you're baking, salt. Use a half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to go check my butter again in a second. And so let me grab my butter. Try not to burn myself. I think I have a scar for every baked good, every holiday. The arms. I don't know. I'm always rushing around and I end up getting burnt. Okay, so I'm looking at my cheat sheet here. I want to make sure I don't forget anything, because sometimes when I'm blabbing, I forget what I'm doing. 3/4 of a cup of milk, or half and half, or a combination of both. Kind of whatever you got. And the only thing I have is skim, and I don't know. I'd rather use half and half. And then I'm going to put an egg yolk. So I've got to get rid of the white. Just doing it in this bowl here. You do it in your hand. Many different methods to getting rid of the white. Throw that in there. Set that aside. And a teaspoon of vanilla. Obviously the recipe will be posted with I think we're ready to mix. My butter, if you can, probably can't see my pan, and I don't want to touch it and burn myself. I could whisk this, but it's kind of like pancake batter. You want to over mix it just until it's mixed. Okay, we'll get that in here on top of all that butter. Yeah, I know it seems kind of crazy. Let me move this so you can see. There. Now I made this a couple weeks ago, and for some reason it didn't seem like there was enough batter, so I put together another batch, which you can do if you need to. Yeah, so I think this pan being this big, I think I'm gonna double. You kind of have to like eyeball it and see if you think. Probably should have used a smaller pan, but that's okay. I'm just gonna double my batter. Got to adapt. As you can see, the ratio of batter to butter is a little bit crazy. So we're just gonna do a second batch because you don't want it to be all butter and all peaches. That is not good. Throw another thing in there. Some more vanilla. Think on your feet. And a little bit of salt. I got salted butter, so whoops. So I'm not worrying about. Did I forget anything? Hope not. Worrying about it being too salty. If you're using salted butter, you could put back on the salt. All right, let's get this in there. And mix it up a little bit. You see what I'm doing? Not really. Push that over. And I'm just dumping it in here. And I'm going to kind of spread it around. And yes, it's a lot of butter. That's okay. It's dessert. Alright, get it all around. That's much better. Yeah, I should have doubled that batch. I doubled it last time. So now I'm going to put my peaches on top, and I'm going to drain them a little. They're very wet. And just a little bit of juice is okay, but you don't want it super wet. And if you're using canned peaches, definitely drain them. This liquid would make a fantastic like cocktail. It's almost like a simple syrup, like a peach simple syrup. You could put it in with tea or whatever, some kind of a cocktail. That's all I'm saying. Drain it a little bit, and then just, this looks like a really good amount of peaches. The peaches are going to kind of sink to the bottom a bit. In a perfect world, just move that around. I'm going to get that in the oven. It's going to take a bit. It'll take a good 40 minutes or so. Pan's still hot. I get that and pause. I'll be right back. All right, after about 40-ish minutes, I think it might have been just a little over 40, so just keep an eye on it. At the 35-minute mark, I started to keep an eye on it, and I also took a little bit of sugar and cinnamon, maybe about a tablespoon of sugar and teaspoon of cinnamon, and I just kind of sprinkled it over the top, make like a little crunchy crust, and you don't have to do that, it's optional. And I stuck it back in the oven for another 10 minutes or so. Actually not quite 10. I really kept an eye on it because it's starting to really brown around the edges, which is okay because you want that little crunchy bit, but all the liquids absorbed and came out great. So I'll give you a little close-up. Peach cobbler, super yummy. Gonna serve it with some ice cream or whipped cream or whatever we got, whatever everybody wants. I got Cool Whip, I got pretty much everything. So yeah, we're all done and came out great. So I did double the batter because I forgot about the size of my pan. I had made it a couple weeks ago and I had to double it, and I don't know why I didn't remember that, but anyway, I'm gonna post the recipe. So again, if you're using a smaller pan, use the single recipe. If you're using a 13x9 like this is a deep pan also, double the batter. I didn't need to double the peaches, just the batter. So it came out great. And that's gonna be our dessert today. We're having a little cookout for 4th of July. So I hope you will try it out for one of your cookouts, or if you're bringing it to a picnic or whatever, or just for a dessert for any day of the week. Okay, so I have marinated grilled pork tenderloin coming up in a couple of weeks, and some other stuff in August. I'm gonna keep cooking for you. Keep watching. Check out the stuff the library's doing. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. It's summer reading program time, so there's tons of stuff for the kiddies. Actually, everybody, teens and adults. So come check us out, and if you're local, come see us, get a library card, see all this great stuff we're doing. So on YouTube, you can just look for Cumberland Library. If you're watching this, you're already here. cumberlandlibrary.org website and Facebook page, so check us out. We've got lots of stuff going on. Hope to see you again soon.